One of you guys in the comments asked, why do we die? Could you make a video on why we die? And I read the comment and I thought, interesting question. And I liked the idea, and when I read it, I didn't really have an answer. I could say some things, maybe some things I heard, I learned from listening to, this teacher or that teacher, this philosophy or that philosophy. And this came back to me in my meditation. I just got out of meditation and I basically drifted out of time and space. And this is something that I'm going to talk about in the next video, which is the trap of time. Anyway, and so when you're in that sort of timeless, spaceless state, your brain, it becomes on steroids, but in such a calm way, and the answers just flood. They just come to you for all kinds of questions without you even seeking. It's just, I read the question, and I guess it went into the back of my subconscious as an important thing to take up, into meditation. And I didn't actually go into meditation with any intention whatsoever. I just sat down and I put on my blindfold, my darkness blindfold, which is just an incredible little useful meditation tool. And after maybe, I drifted out of time and space. I just fell and I completely laid down, and there I go for like 45 minutes because I had the timer on. And I guess I drifted out of the stage when the timer went off, or just a little bit before, a few minutes before. So, why do we die? You have to understand something about your deepest self, your true self. And we're gonna just kind of have a problem keeping this on, but because it's a flimsy foundation here. Anyway, you kind of have to understand, experience for yourself, not understand. Forget that term, because that implies that you have to somehow do it intellectually. You have to experience your true self, your deepest self for yourself, and then you can understand who you really are. And once you understand who you really are, and I asked myself the question in the meditation just now, who am I? And the only answer that I could come up with in that state is I am. I am. Okay, I am. I am. I am that I am. Okay? I am that I am. I'll promise you guys in the next video, I'll make sure it's a better foundation. So, I am that I am. That's who I am. And so, that is an eternal, timeless, spaceless thing. That's consciousness. That's cosmic love. That's who I am. That's who you are. Your pure awareness. And in this current lifetime, your awareness is mostly locked up in a human physical body. But you can understand for yourself when you go through meditation that your awareness becomes a lot more expanded. And I could hear noises in the meditation, and I could become that thing. There was like a plane that went by, and I just felt the energy. I felt I was the energy driving the plane. That my awareness in that moment was in the plane. It's probably a helicopter. Yeah, it sounded like a helicopter. My awareness is in the helicopter. It's in the engine. It is running the helicopter. Okay? And so when you start to get a little bit of taste of that, then your awareness expands and you recognize your true nature. Your expanded nature, okay? And so that turns out to be eternal. It never was, it never will be, it was never born, it's never going to die. So that turns out to be eternal, okay? Therefore, that poses a little bit of a problem for Brahman, for consciousness, for this eternal pure awareness. And that is the problem of being a perfect eternal being. Because if you're a perfect eternal being, that means there is nothing to do and there is nowhere to go. That could get a little boring, right? That could get a little boring. So, this perfect, infinitely intelligent, infinite being, so infinitely intelligent being, decides to, alright, we should be good for a few more minutes. This infinite intelligent being decides, let me have a little fun. Let me play a little game where I pretend, I play like I am a finite, limited being. Okay, forget about it. I'm just gonna hold it like this until the end of the video. Okay, that's actually not bad. So, let me play this little game with myself where I pretend like I am a finite being. You know, I die. I mean, isn't that terrible? That's disheartening. I mean, that creates the drama. Think about it. The drama of life is based on the illusion of every life organism operating under the assumption, the belief, the illusion that it's a finite being. So the drama of life is literally, and this is a literal thing, it is literally fueled by living organisms thinking that they're finite beings and fighting to preserve their finite existence for as long as possible before they perish. And that's the game we're playing here. It's a game of survival, isn't it? I mean, look at all organisms. Life eats life, and look at the not just our human world, but the natural world. Look at the natural world. Every species is fighting for its survival, and it's trying to get a leg up on the other species. Okay? Because the level of consciousness of these species and the vast majority of human beings is locked up in the character as opposed to the creator of the character in the whole game. So if you think you're going to die, you're going to step on anybody's toes at all costs to preserve yourself for as long as you can. Because that's it for you, right? And you die and that's it. No more. You perish, you're gone. Let's make the best of it, shall we? Let's rape and pillage and destroy and enjoy and do all these things because I'm going to die. There is, and who cares about that guy or who cares about that girl? Who cares? This is YOLO, right? YOLO, you only live once, right? That is clearly penetrated through the mainstream culture, the mainstream society. YOLO, right? The YOLO mentality, you only live once. So if you only live and you only live once and there's no consequences, there's no karma, there's nothing like that, and you're not an eternal being, so then who cares? Who cares about others? Right. So, yeah, that's why we die. We die so that the drama of life can go on, so that the game can go on. This is a conscious design by you. This is a conscious design by me, by Brahman, by the one consciousness, by the I am, the pure awareness. It's because that pure awareness is perfect, and it's perfectly intelligent and infinitely intelligent. So then it thinks it's boring. It's bored, right? It's bored, doesn't want to get bored. So it says, well, let me create this game. Let me play this game where I go into all these little, different life forms that I've created in my mind, and let me play like I perish. Let me play. Let me pretend that I perish, that I die, and let's get this drama going. I mean, that's why you see is a common thing amongst yogis and monks, high monks. I'm talking about very, very high conscious beings, right? I'm talking about like Tibetan lamas and Himalayan sadhus, right? I mean, they drop out of the game because they know they're eternal. They don't care for the drama anymore. They play in hide and seek, and that's it. They found themselves, right? They now they know what's up. They know the game. They know they're eternal, and their awareness is no longer locked up in this individual identity, in this individual body, and so they're kind of like, like I guess I'm not fooling myself anymore. And so they have it's a tendency that they drop out of society, right? I mean, that's what monasteries are. Monasteries are for people who want to drop out of society. Okay, they like, okay guys, look, we know what's up here, all right? Let's just get on with it here. There's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go. So let's just sit down here and meditate. Okay, and let's just, because, the power is unlocked with deep states of meditation is that awareness, is that you become anything and anyone. So yogis, high level yogis can go to the moon. They don't need to build spaceships because they're pure awareness. Their awareness could be totally in the moon. They can tell you everything that's going on in the moon, in Mars, in other galaxies, other star systems. They're pure awareness. So to them, it's like, all right, look, I'm the creator of the game. It's all happening in my head. It's all happening in my mind. I'm eternal. My awareness does not have to be locked up in this individual identity, in this individual body, physical body, on this particular plane of existence. I'm going to sit down here and I'm really going to remember who I am. And as the creator, I'll get to do whatever again. Because now that you've forgotten who you are and you're so locked up in the character mode, you've lost all your powers as the creator. Okay, the more and more you're under the illusion that you're a finite being, the less of your original powers you have. Okay, and the more and more you're living in that space of timelessness and spacelessness and eternity, the more and more of your powers you have. Okay, take that as a rule. So essentially, the process of death is a process in which the game of hide and seek, of God consciousness hiding from itself, finding itself, hiding from itself, finding from itself, and it goes on for infinity because it is an infinite being and it can only create something that goes on for infinity. And so because of that, that's why we die. That's why death exists. And the minute you transcend that illusion, that's total liberation. That's total freedom. And so the Sufis call it fina, dying before dying. It's dying before dying. So there are a lot of methods to do that, meditation being the most established one, and you have to really consistently build up a practice. You could experience a little bit of that, drop some acid or take some mushrooms. There's a lot of ways. Sufis like to do ecstatic dancing that gets them in that sort of in that state of consciousness, that timelessness, spacelessness, and expanded awareness. So there's many different ways, but that's why we die. So embrace it, because without it you'd be too bored. You'd be way bored out of your mind. You'd just be sitting around and floating in eternal nothingness. Okay, and thinking up of plots and schemes. And this is your plot and scheme right here. Okay? So, thank you to all the Patreons for supporting this channel. You guys are amazing, awesome, lovely beings, beautiful subjective manifestations of Brahman. So I thank you very much, and I bow down to you and honor you. And if you'd like to support us, because I'd really like to do this full time at some point, then you can do so on Patreon. If you don't support, we don't do this full time, but it's okay. We got eternity, right? And that's about it. As always, may the force be with you.